keep ICE agents out of schools.
No hate, no fear.
That's the message from some Pierce County parents.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Amid fears over immigration raids.
Washington State will not be bullied.
Washington's leaders have a message for President Trump.
Do your damn job and leave us the hell alone.
Why the state won't bend to his calls to change immigration policies.
To see a fire truck rammed by a car.
A driver hits first responders after offering them drugs.
That's serious behavior.
Crashing into them over and over again.
We're behind it now, going northbound.
Tonight, new video of officers chasing him through Seattle.
The smoke was blowing over the highway.
And fighting the flames near Cleellum.
At one point, they actually had fire in the median.
The effort to snuff out the Sun Country fire, and the fire crews plead to drivers.
It doesn't take anything for that spark to jump off the road and start a fire.
We can start something new today, right?
That's right! School resource officers will no longer be on any Franklin Pierce school campuses. Tonight, some activists are celebrating this change. This is King 5 News at 11. I'm Greg Copeland. As King 5's Maddie White reports, demonstrators are also calling on district leaders to make sure ICE officers stay out of schools.
Make some noise because we canceled that contract.
At once both a celebration
We have been in this fight to get SROs out of school for 5 years.
and a call to action.
No one is illegal. No one is illegal.
This rally, led by the Pierce County Immigration Alliance,
Not for ICE intimidation.
called for keeping ICE officials out of Franklin Pierce schools. The leaders behind this rally set up an ICE monitoring program to proactively watch for ICE around Franklin Pierce school sites.
We have reports that ICE has shown up to FPSD schools.
But the district says they have policies prohibiting participation or aid in immigration enforcement that apply to enforcement activity against students. Meanwhile, the district's council recently chose to cut ties with the school resource officer program, citing budget constraints.
We won't have the police vehicles parked outside in front of the schools anymore.
A Pierce County Sheriff's deputy says this may impact response times in the case of an emergency on campus.
They'll call us when they need us.
No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here.
Still, the rally attendees,
Counselors, nurses, folks who are specialized in child development.
like Franklin Pierce alumni Horacio Perez Morales, say they feel investments should go elsewhere.
The people united will never be defeated.
In Pierce County, Maddie White, King 5 News.
Be defeated.
Like the room was a decent size, but if you have 12 people in there, you know, it's going to be crowded. Yeah, one phone.
And that's how a New Zealand mom describes conditions during her time in ICE custody. Sarah Shaw and her 6-year-old son crossed over to Vancouver, BC in July. On her way back home to Everett, she was stopped at the border. Her attorney says a paperwork error caused an issue with her visa. Her son's documents were correct. They were both flown to South Texas Family Residential Center, where they were detained for 3 weeks. She says phone and television access and privacy were hard to come by.
If I needed to go to the bathroom, Isaac was there yelling at me outside the stall. If I wanted to take a shower, he had to come with me. So it was like we were like completely like joined to the hip.
When they got out, Shaw was released with an ankle monitor and without any of her documents. And now that she's home, she's working to get that removed and her documents back. She has no criminal history. We reached out to Customs and Border Protection. It responded, quote, when someone with an expired parole leaves the country and tries to re-enter the U.S., they will be stopped in compliance with our laws and regulations. If they are accompanied by a minor, CBP will follow all protocols to keep families together or arrange care with a legal guardian. Washington State will not be bullied. That is the message from Governor Bob Ferguson after the Justice Department challenged the state's immigration policies. Billions of dollars in federal funding and even the threat of criminal charges are on the line. Olympia Bureau Chief Drew Mickelson has the story.
Governor Bob Ferguson says Washington will not be bullied by the feds and their threats. He says the state's values are at stake.
Let me be very clear. Washington State will not be bullied or intimidated by threats and legally baseless accusations.
Surrounded by state legislators, agency directors, even Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell, Governor Bob Ferguson fired back at U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Pam Bondi seems to believe that cavalierly citing criminal statutes and personally threatening me, a democratically elected governor, will result in compromising the values of my state. That is not going to happen.
Washington State in 2019 passed the Keep Washington Working Act, which prohibits state and local law enforcement from working with federal immigration officials. Last week, AG Bondi sent letters to state and local officials around the country, accusing them of policies and practices that impede federal immigration operations. Bondi's letter to Governor Ferguson said, quote, "Your jurisdiction has been identified as one that engages in sanctuary policies and practices that thwart federal immigration enforcement to the detriment of the interests of the United States. This ends now."
I'm Representative Julio Cortez, an immigrant and Vice Chair of the Latino Democratic Caucus.
Born in Mexico, State Representative Julio Cortez says the Washington law protects hardworking people in the state.
It ensures that when a parent drives their kid to school, when a worker gets to their job site, or when someone calls 911 in an emergency, that help will come without fear that help will come with handcuffs and deportation.
State Senator Lisa Wellman, the sponsor of the Keep Washington Working Act, says the state should play no role in immigration enforcement.
It is the responsibility of the federal government, who now just got how many billions of dollars more to do their job. Do your damn job and leave us the hell alone.
The state's Republican Party chair, State Representative Jim Walsh, said the governor is putting essential functions of state government at risk in order to perpetuate a foolish political fight. Walsh compared the Democrats' stance today as the Confederate Party's approach back during the Civil War. In Olympia, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
Well, the Trump administration also wants to change how we vote. In fact, the president wants to use an executive order to ban mail-in voting nationwide. He claims mail-in voting systems are corrupt and lead to widespread fraud, despite having no evidence of that. Washington became a full vote-by-mail state back in 2011. One King County election official says changing Washington's election system would be a challenge.
Those checks and balances are really critically important in our system. So while certainly things can change at a federal level, it's really the states that decide how elections are run.
In 2022, King 5 commissioned a survey that found 71% of Washington voters have either a high or moderate trust in our state's vote-by-mail system. We spoke to Washington Secretary of State Steve Hobbs tonight about this threat to mail-in voting. His message to the administration was pretty clear.
So let me just add another verbal middle finger to the Trump administration that's been happening all day today, because these executive orders and these threats by the Trump administration. Look, the Constitution gives us the authority to run these elections.
President Trump has also made some false claims that the U.S. is the only country that uses mail-in voting. Canada, the U.K., Germany, Australia, and Switzerland are among those that also use the system. Small hotspots from the Sun Country fire are still flaring up tonight along I-90. This is some video that shows the conditions near Cle Elum tonight. See a bit of smoke there. A fire official we spoke to says driver most likely started this fire. He says flat tires and loose trailer chains can spark and ignite brush fires near roadways.
When you're pulling that trailer, check those chains, make sure they're not dragging. When you have low humidity levels like we've had this summer and the heat for as long as we've had, it doesn't take anything for that spark to jump off the road and start a fire.
And the Yakima Nation had to evacuate 7 homes just west of Cle Elum, where the tribe holds ancestral lands. Others have been told to get ready to leave just in case. The Bear Gulch fire is now 7% contained. That one's burned more than 8,300 acres near Lake Cushman in Olympic National Forest.
The drone is flying as the crews are getting dressed for the incident and responding out to the scene.
And drones could soon be used to help in situations like these in Marysville. First responders tried them out as part of a program this month. They allowed crews to watch a video feed so they have a better grasp of what they're getting into before they even get there.
They can already be coming up with their attack strategy and their tactics that they'll be using on this incident. So it gives great situational awareness.
And the bad news, at this point, there is no funding to continue that program in Snohomish County. Chelan County investigators say new DNA test results strengthen the case against Travis Decker for the deaths of his 3 daughters. The state crime lab confirmed DNA found on items at the crime scene were a match to him. Investigators say he remains the only suspect. The girls' bodies were found in June near a campsite west of Leavenworth. The U.S. Marshal Service is offering a $20,000 reward for information leading to Decker's arrest. The off-duty Alaska Airlines pilot accused of trying to shut down a plane's engines mid-flight has agreed to a plea deal. Joseph Emerson faces federal charges after forcing a flight from Everett to San Francisco to make an emergency landing 2 years ago. His lawyers say he was taking psychedelic mushrooms at the time. A deer was among dozens of animals seized from a Pierce County property after reports of neglect and illegal breeding. This happened yesterday in South Prairie. Authorities removed 55 animals, including dogs, cats, raccoons, opossums. The Tacoma Humane Society is now caring for the domestic animals. Wildlife officers took custody of the rest of them. No word tonight on any charges. A 13-year-old is in custody accused of burglary and vandalism for breaking into the Kitsap County Fairgrounds. You can see some of the damage there. The booths were being set up for the fair that actually opens tomorrow. Deputies say they found the teen nearby, asleep on a playground with a plush toy dog. Officials are still working to determine the cost of that damage. Well, a dangerous chase through Seattle streets at speeds surpassing 85 miles an hour. Police say the driver had just rammed a fire truck after offering those firefighters inside drugs. King 5 Sebastian Robertson walks us through what happened and the days-long search for that driver.
Prosecutors are baffled by this traffic camera video. Watch as the driver repeatedly backs into a Seattle fire engine. They say it happened for no justifiable reason.
To see a fire truck rammed by a car, that's serious behavior, and that's why we filed those felony charges and sought the bail amount that we did.
Look closer and you'll see this brief interaction. Firefighters telling police the driver, later identified as 38-year-old Zachary McCreary, offered them a hit of Whippets, a recreational drug, before taking off.
We're behind it now, going northbound.
Less than an hour later, newly released dash camera video shows an SPD officer lighting up that same car on Aurora.
32, we're approaching 175th. He's going to hit some traffic.
The chase weaved in and out of traffic, topping speeds of 85 miles per hour.
Copy terminated.
Four officers called it off less than 4 minutes later.
Whenever we have evidence to prove that someone was targeting a first responder, whether their person or their vehicle, you can count on King County prosecutors to respond and to hold those individuals accountable through the justice system.
Court documents show McCreary was on police radar well before the fire engine incident. Back in June, Seattle police say he was spotted trying to break his car out of a tow yard before escaping. In Kent, he's accused of reckless driving, weaving through traffic and dodging police stop sticks. Tonight, he's in custody, a man one department has called a prolific felon.
Sebastian Robertson reporting there. Again, McCreary remains in the King County Jail on several charges. He is expected to face a judge later this week.
It's still traumatic.
A South Seattle nonprofit is asking for donations after a car smashed through one of its walls. Surveillance video from Sunday night shows the car on Rainier Avenue narrowly avoiding another one and then right there crashing. Moments later, you'll see the driver get out. Good news here, nobody was seriously hurt, but Rainier Health and Fitness does have extensive damage.
The damage to the physical building, the framing, there was an exit door here. We had to take all of that out. But right on the other side is some expensive equipment because we value giving our community the best. And so that was damaged.
And they tell us they think it'll cost more than $50,000 to repair the wall and replace some of the equipment. Kroger is planning to close 2 more Fred Meyer stores in Western Washington. These are on top of the 2 that we told you about last night in Kent and Everett. One of these is in Seattle's Lake City neighborhood, another in Redmond. They'll shut down mid-October. Kroger says they are among the lowest performers in the region. These closures will affect nearly 350 employees. Since July, Kroger has announced 6 local closures affecting nearly 1,000 employees. They will be offered jobs at nearby stores per a union contract. The White River Bridge on Highway 410 will be shut down for at least a few more days. A semi-truck crashed into it yesterday. WashDOT still needs to figure out whether the bridge can reopen before the repairs are made. The detour adds up to 45 minutes for drivers. And in Tacoma, the Hylebos Bridge is closed for drivers. The bridge is actually being kept open so shipping vessels can keep passing through it. The city blames a technical malfunction. Didn't get any details on it. No word yet how long that closure will last. Well, hard-fought run by a local Little League baseball team. Coming up next, how the team is inspiring the next generation of athletes.
We're here to be a community. We lift each other up.
Carving out a place for women on the water. The Seattle nonprofit hoping to empower them to make waves in a male-dominated sport.
And while summer has been taking it easy on us here the last few days, we do see the heat returning by the end of the week. Comes along with a lot of sunshine, though. We'll give you the details in your complete forecast coming up.